Hi, this is Laura Chappell, and welcome to 3 Cool Buttons to Build in Wireshark. Well, one of them's not really a button, but it's certainly something that you want to know how to do. Okay, so let's bring in Wireshark, and let me expand this. And of course, the first thing I want to do is I want to have a custom profile. Now, I'm in a profile in the bottom right-hand corner called Slow Server. I'm going to right mouse click and make a new profile, and I'm just going to call this Buttons. And there we go. I'm going to go to a little larger font. Okay, so let's talk about some of these buttons and the buttons that I like to have. There are 3 that I'm going to show you here. The first one is an ICMP and ICMP v6 button because I always pay attention to ICMP traffic. So I'm going to bring back Wireshark and I'm going to go up to the filter area and type in ICMP, and you can see that I've typed this in before because it's already sitting there on my drop down list. ICMP pipe and then ICMP v6, but because we have a different version for IPv6 traffic. Once I do that, on the far right hand side, I'm going to click the plus to create a button, and I'm just simply going to call it ICMP. If you want to put in a comment for your buttons, of course you can, and I'm going to click OK. So now I've got this trace file. I just captured a bunch of stuff on my network here, and I can just click on ICMP and I can see that I have 2 ICMP packets in here, router advertisements coming out. So go ahead and clear that out. Okay, let's look at the next one. TCP/UDP delays. Okay, so we didn't always have the ability to do both TCP and UDP delay detection this way, but we do now, and I'm working in Wireshark version 3.6. So let's say we go to any UDP packet or TCP packet and we expand the TCP or UDP header. You're looking for a field called timestamps, which has the square brackets on either side. That means it's a Wireshark interpretation added by Wireshark. And the thing we care about here is time since previous frame. So this is measuring the amount of time from the previous frame in this conversation and this frame. And if we're downloading a large file or something and we see a huge gap in time during the download process, that can be the cause of someone complaining about performance when we have sudden large gaps in time. So I'm going to take this field right here and I'm just going to click and drag this up to my display filter area. We can see that it pulled the value that was in that field that I dragged up here, and I'm going to change this, and this is where you need to define what is slow to you. I'm going to say I want to know anytime the UDP delta time is greater than 250 milliseconds. So I'm putting it in as a .250. And just as we have a field called UDP.time_delta, we also, in TCP traffic, have a field called TCP.time_delta. And I'm going to make that .250 also, 250 milliseconds. So this one button would detect UDP delays and TCP delays. I'm going to click the plus, and I'm just going to call it UDP/TCP delta greater than, actually I'm just going to put in delta 0.250. Say OK. And now in this trace file, I have a button to detect delays within the streams. Make sure you watch the tech tip on the stream numbering. That tech tip is called Build an Essential Wireshark Stream Column, and you really want to have that stream column up. Alright, now the third button isn't actually a button. It is a way to organize your buttons. It is set up so that you can have a heading on a button section and all these buttons that relate to that right underneath it. So here's how we do this. If I look up in the upper right, I have an ICMP button I just created and my delta time button. I'm going to right mouse click on my ICMP button and I'm going to choose to edit that button. And in the label, I'm going to put in watch for // And that watch for is going to be my button header. I'll say OK. And now in the upper right hand corner, I don't have an ICMP button showing up, but I have a header with a drop down, and my ICMP button is underneath that. I'm going to do the same thing for my UDP and TCP button, watch for // and when I say OK, all of my buttons are underneath this one button title. And you can imagine how you can use that to organize buttons that look for anomalies in the traffic, or problems, problem packets that would cause performance issues, or even protocol buttons. So let's say you have a whole bunch of buttons dealing with different DNS packet types. Those can now all be ordered and organized under a button header.